106 new cases of the coronavirus were detected in Beijing, the capital of China, in the last 4 days. This comes after 56 days of no new coronavirus case reports in Beijing. The origin of the infection, according to the authorities, can be traced back to a food market called xinfadi market in southwest Beijing, which was supposedly visited by 200,000 people from May 30. Yang Zhanghui, a deputy director at the pathogen biology department at Wuhan University, told state media he believed the new outbreak involved a more contagious strain of the coronavirus than the one that hit Wuhan at the beginning of the pandemic. So the question arises, are we witnessing the much feared second wave of the coronavirus in Beijing? Before the first new case reported on June 11, life in Beijing was what one would call the new normal. Well, not normal, but still better than all other countries that are still in a tug of war against the virus, choosing whether to save the economy or the people, finding it hard to save both. Gyms, restaurants, schools were already being opened by the start of April. People almost returned to their normal lives, with masks and a lot of sanitization, of course. They even received a 5-day holiday following May 1, with no restrictions on domestic traveling. The government has also time and time again shared plans to return the capital city to normal. So the 106 new coronavirus cases can be seen as a hindrance to the government's plan of reopening. And the fact that 200,000 people may be possibly infected is enough to give one nightmares. Beijing before all this was being placed along South Korea in its ability to control the spread of the virus and was internationally commended for its efforts. For context, South Korea can be monotonously called the best in controlling the spread of coronavirus, using every method from aggressive contact tracing to large-scale early testing to stop its spread. These cases come alongside negotiations between China and the US to open international travel between them to restore trade and the economy. Beijing is not Wuhan 2.0, state-owned Global Times said, also adding that they do not believe that the virus will spread widely as in the early stages in Wuhan. The next 3 days will be important to containment, they wrote, but said a lockdown is not warranted. Further, Beijing city's spokesperson Zhu Hazan warned at a press conference that the epidemic situation in the capital is extremely severe. Right now we have to take strict measures to stop the spread of COVID-19, he added. The government's word could be quickly seen in action. More than 20 neighborhoods in the Chinese capital have now been designated at medium risk, which means authorities can impose stricter restrictions on the movement of people and will carry out temperature checks wherever possible. Health authorities said sealed off residences and people in quarantine would have food and medicine delivered to them. Beijing has also shut down several markets, including the largest xinfadi wholesale market, which according to the current info can be called as the epicenter of this new outbreak, and locked down 11 residential communities near it. More than 8,000 workers from a market have now been tested and sent to centralized quarantine facilities, and other Beijing wet markets, basement markets, and more than 30,000 restaurants are being disinfected. More than 76,000 nearby residents were tested on Sunday across almost 300 testing points, with other precautions like the closing of schools, which is a little sad for me after looking at these adorable kids with their 1-meter heights. Yang Peng, an expert from Beijing Center for Diseases Prevention and Control, addressed the spike in new cases in a television interview on Sunday, claiming that the genome sequencing of the virus strain was similar to the strains originated in Europe. Beijing local media claimed earlier that the virus was discovered on chopping boards used for imported salmon in the xinfadi market. This led to conspiracies about corona spreading from salmon popping up in Chinese social media. But to tell you the truth, there is no hardcore evidence that this is a second wave, and the situation is still evolving, and will be covered further in an upcoming video, possibly this month. So subscribe to stay updated.